good, guys? It's Ilsun 4K, and today we're here to talk about a very interesting question that's never been posed in a horror world before, to my understanding, but more importantly, we're also here to remember a legend and an icon in the world of pop culture, and that is Paul Reubens, aka Pee Wee Herman, just passed away this past year, and it was really sad because, I'll be quite honest with you, nobody knew that he was dealing with cancer. He dealt with the battle silently, and when it came time for his passing, he left a heartfelt message behind for his fans, and I thought that was really a polite way to handle it because, you know, we all looked up to Pee Wee. Because I'm not gonna lie, for me and millions upon millions of other kids, in the late 80s to early 90s, Pee Wee Herman was everything. He was the last of the breed, that I want to say, that really was able to take the idea of a live action show, make it half Saturday morning cartoon and half Mr. Rogers and the affairs that he always taught us about ourselves in the end, and just make something that was so over-the-top zany. Again, cartoons were really a lot more popular at the time in the late 80s to early 90s than the live action shows, but like I mentioned, Pee Wee Herman really took the idea of a Saturday morning cartoon coming to life and created it within this set that was very limited for the time. He had Cherry the talking chair, which sounds cliche, Globy the talking globe, but then out of nowhere he's got this genie that lets him grant wishes and stuff like that. Mecha mecha hi, mecha hiney hiney ho. Yeah, that was some cool shit for back in the day. And further onward from there was the actual live-action characters, such as Cowboy Curtis, who was, of course, an early Lawrence Fishburne, Miss Yvonne, and the Mayor Lady, and everything else in between. Pee Wee Herman was such an explosive success that he was undeniable to even Disney. Everybody had to pay attention to Pee Wee Herman and what he was doing for kids' movies. Moving onward from there, of course, the Pee Wee Herman show got so big and Paul Reubens got so big that it was only one logical solution for them to do, and that was to make a movie for him. Yes, Pee Wee Herman was going to get his own film, and it was directed by Tim Burton, and it was the first time Tim Burton ever worked together with Danny Elfman, which is really, really, really awesome when you think about it, because their first time together was amazing. By the time they got to Nightmare Before Christmas, they absolutely were killing it. My favorite thing about this movie is that, a lot like other kids' movies that we've seen, such as the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers, however, this is before both of those, I believe, is how good they end up being. I mean, even the Transformer film back in the 80s, which was strictly cartoon, was fantastically well done. But this whole Pee Wee Herman thing was done to the next level. The Pee Wee Herman film was everything we could have wanted as kids out of a Pee Wee Herman film. Gone was the one set design, and instead we were given a budget where it just showed us an entire fucking countryside of Pee Wee Herman traversing through it. But I'm not gonna lie, even the one scene that does take place inside of his wacky zany house is the breakfast scene in the morning, and that's unbelievable. I mean, the craftsmanship and the mayhem that went into trying to make that scene work probably was really a lot of Hollywood magic, but the way it was conveyed to us, it made us seem like it was something that was so believable and so possible. And it was just incredible to watch him make, you know, everything in this breakfast from a contraption. Now, that's just getting started. This film also gave us something else that we never really got from Pee Wee Herman before, and that was a true bona fide villain in Francis. Francis plays the perfect villain to Pee Wee's ways of being so carefree and not worried because he's this rich guy, and Pee Wee Herman just has such great on-screen chemistry with him because he can't be bought and he won't sell the bike. And of course, the thing is, Pee Wee's bike gets stolen, and it sends him on this wild adventure. And this bike is like his treasured item. He loves this bike more than anything in the world. He actually shows how well hidden it is in his house by it being on a panel that sets off a series of lights, including a jack-o'-lantern, and lifts up the gate. Now, that's something that we're here to talk about. That jack-o'-lantern. At first, you think it might just be, I don't know, a regular decoration in Pee Wee's house. But let's go and take a look at some other times in this movie where maybe this movie might actually be a Halloween movie in disguise. Now, I know what you're thinking. There's no way Pee-wee's Big Adventure is actually a horror movie. But I'm telling you, if not for the fact that I was in the middle of literally writing scripts for this year's Horror-ween special, that I watched this movie and started noticing some things that were a little strange, I couldn't help but feel like I needed to point it out. And to be quite honest with you, I later went on to find out I'm not the only one who's had this theory. So let's talk about it like this. I'm going to give you timestamps, and you're going to watch these scenes, and you're going to tell me how you feel about it and see if I'm right or wrong. I want your opinions, so make sure you comment below as soon as you're done watching this video. Okay, now at 3:07, look at the lower left-hand corner when Pee-wee wakes up and it shows his bedroom. And then again, take a look at the different shot of the same scene at 3:17. We see a ceramic jack-o'-lantern. Now, one could say Pee-wee's house is just filled with over-the-top stuff and this fits right in, but it'd be pretty safe to say that 9 times out of 10, but let's see what else we got going and keep going on. At 449, let's take a look at this scene right here. Did you see it? If not, here, let me show you. Again, we see a jack-o'-lantern and a skeleton. One could argue Pee-wee has skeletons all over his house of people, animals, and even dinosaurs, but again, a jack-o'-lantern is pretty much the most iconic thing about Halloween. It's the Halloween what Christmas trees are to Christmas, so to speak. We see none of these items anywhere in Pee-wee's house to show other holidays such as Christmas, Thanksgiving, or even Easter. So, in anything else, given the madness of the rest of the house, at least one life-size Santa would fit in somewhere. Alright, fine. There's a life-size Santa, 817, and fits as a lawn decoration. You can see it over here. There, you got one other decoration. Now, again, at 7:35 in the film, we see more of the decorations we saw at 4:49. We can actually see there's a bat in the window decoration as well, furthering the spooky theory that it's not just all random decorations. And then at 8:30, we see the jack-o'-lantern mentioned before when Pee-wee activates a secret mechanism to get his bike. I'm not giving the timestamps for the rest of the things that we see in this film that show us where it might be on Halloween, but I had to show you these things so you could notice them right out the gate and see how much the movie starts off giving its notion a life of its own, really. Moving forward from there, let's take a look at this magic shop. This magic shop, and I've been to a lot of magic shops where I grew up. There was plenty of them. I loved me some magic shops. I was that kind of geek. I've never been to a magic shop that looked anything like this magic shop. This magic shop looks like it's full-blown Halloween time with all the masks it has on display. And it has a lot of masks, as well as costume accessories, fake blood, and other things in a shop that tell you it's that time of year, so moving forward. Now, again, everything about this movie is subtle, so maybe I'm wrong, but when Pee-wee leaves that magic shop and notices that his bike has been stolen, we notice that the clown has an evil face painted on it. But then as we see him walking around this mall town square, we see a guy dressed as a mime, and we see another individual dressed more like a costume affair. Doesn't mean it's Halloween right then and there. No, but it's just a little interesting, wouldn't you say? And I think we all know the next point I'm going to bring up. Well, it's pretty easy out loud for me to say this movie does have some kind of scary moments for a kid's movie. This one scene is horrifying, and of course I'm talking about the iconic scene where he gets picked up by Large Marge, who ends up actually being a ghost that drops him off, but not before showing him the scariest face I have ever seen in a kid's movie that was only supposed to be for children. Again, this was in a movie that was supposed to only be meant for kids. Anyway, after she drops him off at the restaurant, he proceeds to tell everyone, Large Marge sent me. Everyone says Large Marge died, actually 10 years ago to this day. We look on the memoriam, and it seems that she passed away on January 11th. So, does this movie take place in January then, because we officially saw it? Or is it a continuity error on the director's behalf, and I'm right anyway? I'll be quite honest with you. Seems like it might be a continuity error to this